We are the wind in the sails of your business. We are your compass. Chart your course towards your targets. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
Hello there. It's time for another News Periscope podcast. A podcast that gives you a bird's eye view of what's been happening around the world in the past 7 days. My name is Titilayo Oyinson. And in the highlights, 30 people killed in fresh bandit attack in Sokoto State in Nigeria. Nigerian Minister Lai Mohammed describes bandits as simple criminals. Youths gather across Nigeria to mark 1 year anniversary of endsars protests as police deny firing canisters at protesters at Lekki Tollgate. First black U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell dies from Covid-19 complications. Kidnappers of Missionaries in Haiti demand $17 million for their release. And now to details. We begin from Abuja, Nigeria, where a federal high court has ordered the Nigeria Immigration Service to immediately release the passport of Peter Odili, former governor of Rivers State. Presiding Judge Inyang Ekwo, in the judgment, held that there was no legal justification for the action of the NIS against the former governor. Odili had approached the court to challenge the seizure of his passport by the NIS. He told the court that his passport with number B500-31305 was seized from him on June 20th by NIS officials for an undisclosed reason, shortly after he landed Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. In its response to the suit, the NIS tried to justify the seizure of Odili's passport, saying it was prompted by a request from the EFCC. Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State has condemned the attack of Goroyo Weekly Market, in which over 30 people were killed by bandits on Sunday. Bandits numbering about 200 raided the market and killed over 30 people. Sokoto, like Zamfara, Kaduna, Katsina, and Niger, recently took security measures to contain the activities of bandits, which include shutdown of mobile telecommunications networks, a ban on sale of domestic animals, and restriction on sale of fuel. But these have so far proved ineffective to rein in the terrorists. Tambuwal spoke on the tragedy while hosting the Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahaya, on a courtesy call.
The pressure from Zamfara Chief Army Staff is continuing to mount in Sokoto. So we need you to please look into the operations in Zamfara, review it, and possibly carry out a simultaneous operation between Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and Niger states. All the contiguous states are in distress because of the operation in Zamfara state. If you chase them away from Zamfara, they pander towards other states. I can tell you, the chief, our situation was not the way it is before the commencement of this operation in Zamfara. The operation in Zamfara has worsened our situation because there wasn't enough resources around here to form a blocking force that would have checkmated their exodus and foray into Sokoto State. So we need more personnel, we need more resources. Whatever you can do, we need all of that.
Responding, Yahaya said the Nigerian army would continue to work towards ending insurgency and other criminal activities in the country.
These criminals we are fighting are within us, they are not from the moon. And nobody will collect ransom and go on top of mountain and remain there. He must come to town. And his neighbors and his people know him. They see him. So if we interact properly, we will see them when they come. So security, everybody, that's what we said, and that's what we're working on. And that's why also, many times, we have succeeded in apprehending several others.
Now, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has described the armed bandits terrorizing northwest and other parts of the northern Nigeria as common criminals. Mohammed said unlike Boko Haram, the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra who have ideologies like flags, they are simpler criminals. According to him, bandits should not be compared with Boko Haram insurgents and IPOB separatists because they cannot be attached to a religious or ideological goal.
What is happening in the Northwest and part of North Central in terms of banditry is nothing but criminality, sheer criminality, and that this criminality has no religious, no ideological, or no ethnic basis. It's pure criminality. And he went further to say that what people don't understand is that between the forests of Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna, and part of Niger State, that there are over 150 bandit camps, each with his own leader, independent of one another, and they operate independently. So when people talk about bandits, they don't really have an idea of what bandits are or how they operate. If you have about 150 camps, independent, each of them operating independently, you begin to appreciate what really is called banditry.
The comments of the minister came amidst growing calls for President Buhari to declare bandits and killer herdsmen as terrorists. The leader of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, Sheikh IBRAHEEM El-ZAKZAKY, has sued the Minister of Justice and the Department of State Services to court over his prolonged detention and refusal of the government to release his passport. The fundamental human rights suit instituted by the Federal High Court, Abuja, by his lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana El-ZAKZAKY, is seeking 7 reliefs, including an order mandating the respondents to pay 2 billion naira as general and exemplary damages for violation of his rights to freedom of movement, fair hearing, and property. The cleric is also seeking a declaration that the seizure of his passport since May 2019 is illegal and unconstitutional, as it violates his fundamental right to freedom of movement guaranteed by the Constitution. The first black U.S. Secretary of State and military leader, Colin Powell, has died from complications of COVID-19, aged 84. Powell's family announced his demise on Facebook. According to CNN, Powell was recognized for his leadership in several Republican administrations, which helped in shaping American foreign policy in the last years of the 20th century and the early years of the 21st century. China has denied that it tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile earlier in the year, insisting instead that it was a routine spacecraft check. The initial report in the Financial Times newspaper prompted concern in Washington, where U.S. intelligence was reportedly caught by surprise. Hypersonic missiles are much faster and more agile than normal ones, meaning they are more difficult to intercept. It comes as concern grows around China's nuclear capabilities. A gang which kidnapped a group of missionaries from the US and Canada in Haiti is demanding $1 million in ransom for each of the 17 people it's holding. Haitian Justice Minister disclosed this in a statement. The gang is notorious for kidnapping groups of people for ransom, and the same gang, 400 Mazowo, abducted a group of Catholic clergy in April. On Wednesday, youth across the country gathered at different venues to mark the first anniversary of the endsars protest. In the nation's capital, Abuja, protesters were seen raising placards and chanting songs as they gathered at the Unity Fountain. The protesters gathered with a big banner with the inscription, "We never forget 2010-20, #endsars Memorial." Celebrities and activists who turned up at the toll gate with their cars were seen waving Nigerian flags from inside vehicles and honking horns while singing solidarity songs. Singer Folari Falana, popularly called Fowls, said no protester will be left behind.
You never stop us. People have been arrested. Maybe you arrest all of us here today. Yeah, we arrested all of us. We are moving together. We're not leaving anyone behind. Yes.
In Lagos, the State Police Commissioner Hakeem Odumosu said he ordered his men to tear gas endsars memorial protesters at the Lekki tollgate to avoid a breakdown of law and order. The police commissioner noted that he ordered his men to tear gas the protesters because they went against the promise earlier made that the procession will start by 8 a.m. and end by 10 a.m. Odumosu added that any demonstration beyond the agreed time is constituting a nuisance and will not be tolerated.
Those to identify and release them. No, we take this one further, we do further investigation about them. So those who are able to identify themselves now, we still now release them. So those who cannot identify themselves now and why they are here now, further investigation will reveal. If at the end of the day they are getting arrested now, we release them. See, I still everybody here. We're not able to identify them. There. What's he doing with those weapons here? That part of the thing, that's because we need to ask ourselves.
So where will they be taken to now?
No, I'll take to the police station. We obtain their statement now. We now do investigation. Well, investigation will reveal their fate. At the end of investigation now, we do what the law says we should do. That's it. So those who can identify, we release everybody. If you protest and you have not committed any crime because of the protest, you don't have.
Odumosu cleared the air on the arrest of some protesters earlier in the day.
We didn't fire canisters to disperse protesters, to disperse the miscreants. Not the time of the canister that we fired. And if you go back historically, you've seen the period that they posted between 8 a.m. and 10. So that's where they want to do it. One. Secondly, now, we agreed that they need to move in vehicles, not on foot. They can blare their horns as they want to blare their horns, okay? So they can wave their flags as they want to wave their flags, okay? If they can display their, their posters there, no problem. So that's one. But they are not to be, so they are not to be on foot. And we agreed that they won't come down from their vehicle to address anybody. That is where people will start coming in. That's where people will now start converging. So, and as at the time, we need to use minimum force to disperse the miscreants, not the protesters. But when they now came now, the miscreants now. And I called the organizers. This is what is happening. I'm seeing this one now, what's happening now. They said they have left as at 10 o'clock. Everybody has gone back to their houses. I've had information that they want to go to the State House at Alausa. I deployment there. And Tokpa told me pointedly that they are not going to anywhere. They've gone back to their houses. And after 10, anybody on the field now is no more. And we arrested somebody with machetes. Is that the protesters? That's an evidence to us that miscreants are infiltrating them.
Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said there is no proof that any protester was killed at the Lekki tollgate in Lagos State in October 2020. Addressing a press conference in Abuja, Mohammed described the event at the tollgate as a phantom massacre. He said at earlier press conferences he had called the reported massacre at the tollgate the first massacre in the world without blood or bodies.
And those alleging a massacre to present evidence, there has been none. No bodies, no families, no convincing evidence, nothing. Where are the families of those who were reportedly killed at the tollgate? Did they show up at the judicial panel of inquiry? If not, why? Sadly, the champions of the Phantom Massacre at the Lekki tollgate, including Amnesty International and the CNN, have continued to shamelessly hold on to their unproven stand. Recall, gentlemen, that after banding different figures, Amnesty International finally settled at about 12 people killed. On the spot, CNN went from 38 people killed to 2 to just 1 after its supposed global exclusive, even when the network had no remote ground at the Lekki tollgate on October 20th, 2020.
Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed is worried about the spate of insecurity in the state. He raised this concern at the State Executive Council meeting, where he tasked political appointees to be fully involved in finding solutions to the problem, especially in their respective local government areas. One of the major concerns raised at the meeting was the activities of criminals around Lamebura Forest. The council has decided to revoke all lands illegally occupied by settlers and farmers at the forest reserve.
Security, we're having sleepless nights You have seen I have come late. There is no time I'm not talking about security. You are my representatives in your own right. You will have to change our style. These people are coming and they are really collaborating or conniving, I would say. I will not use that good word for a bad thing. They are conniving with our traditional institution, with leaders, and even sometimes with bad acts within the security agency. Everything in this world is about life and property. It's about the living. If you are dead, then there's nothing in it. The fact that we have been mentioned as the most peaceful state in northern Nigeria is giving us more challenge.
The United Nations has said 3 children were killed in an airstrike in the outskirts of Ethiopia's northern city of Mekelle. The UN said a second strike in the same town later in the day reportedly injured 9 people and caused damages to houses and a nearby hotel. The bombing was carried out by the country's air force in its ongoing offensive against rebels in the northern Tigray region. The government had initially called reports of the airstrike an absolute lie, but later confirmed the operation, saying it was against fighters linked to the Tigray People's Liberation Front. A bomb attack on a military bus in central Damascus has killed at least 13 people. Syrian state media says the vehicle was targeted with 2 explosive devices as it passed under Jisr al-Rai Bridge shortly after dawn. Although Syria has been embroiled in civil war for a decade, such attacks in the capital are increasingly rare. Army shellfire also reportedly killed at least 8 people in the opposition-held northwest soon after. Several schoolchildren were among the casualties from the attack in the town of Ariha in Idlib province. On Thursday, the Niger Police Command confirmed the abduction of 13 travelers by gunmen at Konar Barao village in Rafi local government area of the state. Niger Commissioner of Police Monday Kuriaz, in an interview in Minna, the state capital, said that one Mubarak Idris of Kwanana village, Sokoto state, reported the matter to the police. Was the driver of the bus conveying 18 passengers from Yauri in Kebbi State, where the incident occurred. The travelers, mostly fishermen, were said to be on their way back to Yenogwa in Bayelsa State when they were attacked. According to Idris, on getting to a sharp bend at Kona Barao along Tegina Mina Road, some suspected bandits in military uniform attacked the vehicle and took away 13 passengers and his motorboy. In another development, the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits causing mayhem in the northwest as terrorists. El-Rufai, who made the call when he received the third quarter security report from the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arunwa, in Kaduna, said the declaration of bandits as terrorists would inspire the Nigerian military to attack and kill bandits without breaching international law. The National Assembly had recently asked President Buhari to declare the bandits as terrorists.
We in the Kaduna State Government have always urged for the declaration of bandits as insurgents and terrorists. We have written letters to the federal government since 2017 asking for this declaration, because it is this declaration that will allow the Nigerian military to attack and kill these bandits without any major consequences in international law. So we support the resolution by the National Assembly, and we are going to follow up with a letter of support for the federal government to declare these bandits and insurgents as terrorists so that there will be fair game for our military. They don't give anyone a chance. They should not be allowed to leave. They should all be killed.
Still on terrorism, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said members of the Fethullah terrorist organization FETÖ that attempted to push him out of power on July 15, 2016 through a failed coup are currently in Nigeria. President Erdogan, who is on a 4-day official tour of 3 African countries, Nigeria, Togo and Angola, made this disclosure at a joint press conference with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja.
As you are probably aware of the fact that Turkey has been fighting against terrorist organizations for many, many decades, the perpetrator of the heinous failed coup of July the 15th, FETÖ, is still illegally active in Nigeria. And we are continuously sharing our intelligence with the Nigerian interlocutors and authorities. I hope and pray that our Nigerian brothers will forge a closer solidarity in this field with us, the Republic of Turkey.
A Florida man has pleaded guilty to murdering 17 people in a 2018 mass shooting at a high school campus in Parkland, Florida. 23-year-old Nicholas Cruz has also pleaded guilty to 17 counts of attempted murder for those he injured in the attack at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. He faces the possibility of the death penalty or life in prison. Cruz was 19 years old when he shot dead 14 students and 3 employees with an AR-15 rifle at his former school. Another 17 people were wounded. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice in Nigeria, Abubakar Malami, said an investigation has revealed that a firm, Abai Bako and Sons, was sponsoring Sunday Igboho. Malami spoke on Friday at a press conference on investigation of reports on alleged acts of terrorism and allied offences perpetrated by Kanu, and report on the sponsors and financiers of Sunday Igboho. He said a report by a security committee constituted by the federal government found the major financier of the Yoruba Nation agitator is a member of the National Assembly. However, Malami did not reveal the identity of the federal lawmaker.
The report revealed that Sunday Igboho is a director and signatory for Aviation International Concept Limited, registered on 23rd April 2010. Aviation International Concept Limited also has Oladele Oyetunji and Ederoho Adeyemo as directors. Similarly, Igboho is linked to 43 bank accounts in 9 banks. The major financier of the fugitive and separatist was found to be a federal lawmaker in the National Assembly. A total sum of 127,145,000 naira was received by Igboho from his financiers between 22nd October 2013 and 28th September 2020 through International Concept Limited account.
Malami added that the Security Committee also made a damning discovery about the activities of the leader of proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. He said the committee found that Nnamdi Kanu was receiving support from both within and outside Nigeria.
Nnamdi Kanu, through an online call-in radio program, Radio Biafra, further instigated IPOB members to burn down all police stations and kill government security forces, which was carried out, and several security personnel, especially police officers, were killed and public and private properties destroyed. 175 security personnel were in consequence killed by IPOB ESN, comprising 128 policemen, 37 military personnel, and 10 other security operatives across the country.
Meanwhile, the Department of State Services has released 2 remaining aides of Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. The security police released Amudat Abibat Babatunde. The secret police released Amudat Abibat Babatunde, also known as Lady K, and Jamiu Noah Oyetunji, after 3 months in illegal detention. The detainees were among those arrested around 1 a.m. on July 1st, 2021, when DSS raided Igboho's Ibadan residence in a Gestapo style, killing 2 other associates of the activist and arresting 12 others. The applicants had approached the court through their lawyer to seek the enforcement of their fundamental rights. Next on the news is reports that the National Security Advisor Babagana Mongono has confirmed the killing of another leader of the Islamic State in West Africa province, ISWAP, Malam Bako. Addressing journalists after a security meeting of service chiefs with President Buhari, Mongono said Bako was killed 2 days before by the military. He said the development had thrown the camp of terrorists into confusion. The boss of a notorious Haitian gang accused of kidnapping 17 members of a US-based missionary group last weekend, Wilson Joseph, is warning that the hostages will be killed if his demands aren't met. Officials said earlier in the week that 400 Mawozo gang was demanding $1 million each for each of those kidnapped, although it wasn't clear if that included the 5 children in the group, among them an 8-month-old. 16 Americans and 1 Canadian were abducted along with their Haitian driver. Joseph also threatened Prime Minister Ariel Henry and Haiti's National Police Chief as he spoke in front of the open coffins that apparently held several members of his gang who were recently killed. NATO defense ministers have agreed a new master plan to defend against any potential Russian attack on multiple fronts, reaffirming the alliance's core goal of deterring Moscow despite a growing focus on China. The confidential strategy aims at preparing for any simultaneous attack in the Baltic Sea and Black Sea regions that could include nuclear weapons, hacking of computer networks, and assault from space. Officials stress that they do not believe any Russian attack is imminent, but Moscow has denied any aggressive intentions and says it is NATO that risks destabilizing Europe with such preparations. And in sports, a hip muscle injury sustained by Borussia Dortmund striker Erling Haaland will see the Norwegian sidelined for a couple of weeks, according to club manager Marco Rose. Haaland only returned from another muscle injury last week, scoring twice in a 3-1 win over Mainz, before playing the entire game in Dortmund's 4-0 Champions League loss to Ajax on Tuesday. Dortmund's next match is on Sunday at Arminia Bielefeld, while the next Champions League fixture is on November 3rd at home against Ajax. And that's it for our News Periscope podcast for this week. If you have any news updates for us that you would like to be on the podcast, please send them in tt.o@africabusinessradio.com or hit us up on Twitter at AfricaBizRadio and of course at TT the Dynamite. Until next time, my name again is Titilayo Oyinso. Thanks for listening.
We are the wind in the sails of your business. We are your compass. Chart your course towards your targets. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.